Hi everyone and welcome. Today we're going to talk about the different factions and characteristics of business. After discussing the nature of business and the different forms of business organization, and also we spoke about objectives of business, today we're going to talk about the functions and the features of business. First, let's talk about the most important functions of any business. Actually, we have to know that there is only one valid definition of business purpose, which is to create a customer. Accordingly, business has some basic functions which must be performed in order for business to achieve its purpose. A business enterprise performs many functions which can be classified under the following headings: production, marketing, finance, and personnel. First, production function. So it is concerned with the transformation of inputs like manpower, materials, machinery, capital, information, and energy by business into specified outputs as demanded by the market and society. The second faction is finance, and it is concerned with the arrangement of sufficient capital for the smooth running of business. It also assists in the proper utilization of resources. It considers business decisions such as sources of finance, investment of funds in productive ventures, and levels of inventory of various items, etc. The next one is marketing, which focuses on the distribution of goods and services produced by the business production department. And the last function is personnel function, which is another important function that business must perform in order to achieve business purpose. It is concerned with finding suitable or the appropriate employees, giving them training, fixing their remuneration, and motivating them. Now let's talk about the main important characteristics or features of business. The first characteristic is the exchange of goods and services. Okay, for the major feature of any business is the exchange of goods and services. All business activities are directly or indirectly concerned with the exchange of goods or services for money or money's worth. The second feature, and it is one of the primary objectives of any business, it is a profit. So there are different objectives of business, but the primary objective of any business is the profit objective. The purpose of individual or a group of individuals involving in business is to make a profit. The reward of business is profit. The next one is business risks and uncertainties. There are different kinds of risks faced by the business owners. These include risks of loss as a result of fire outbreak and risks of loss as a result of theft. There are business uncertainties such as change in demand or fall in price, which will negatively affect business. Another function or characteristic of business is availability of buyer and seller. So in any business, there has to be, or it has to be, two parties, buyer and seller. So in a business transaction, there must be at least two parties involved. The two parties are buyers and sellers. The seller is an individual or entity that exchanges any type of good or service in return for payment. In financial markets, the seller is the investor who gives up his or her investment to the buyer in return for payment. A buyer is a person who purchases things and is regarded as a customer. In addition, we have the characteristic or the feature of production of goods and services. Goods and services are what the seller will present to the buyer. So goods and services are the business activity that the buyer will pay for, that is, they will exchange for their money. Hence, the goods and services provided must worth its value. And lastly, we have here the feature of meeting human needs and wants. So the essence of any business is to meet the needs and wants of its numerous customers. This will be achieved by giving out goods, products, and services that are not only safe for consumption, but only worth the value of money paid for such goods and services. Now let's sum up the most important point we have discussed in this video. In this video, we spoke about the most important thing, it is the definition of business, and we said it is defined as an organization or enterprise in entirety engaged in commercial, industrial, or professional activities. Then we spoke about business functions, which are activities carried out by enterprise. They can be divided into core functions and support functions. First, the core of business functions are activities of enterprise yielding income, the production of final goods or services intended for the market or for third parties. Secondly, lastly, support business functions, which are supporting activities carried out by the enterprise in order to permit or to facilitate the core business functions, its production activity, for example, marketing, sales, and after-sales services.